Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we will be talking about romance books. It's almost Valentine's Day, and by the time I'm filming this it is still January, but in 2 weeks away it'll be Valentine's Day. So I thought, what a better way to celebrate Valentine's Day other than reading romance books. And I have so many favorite romance books. I started reading because of romance books, so in a way romance genre is like my comfort genre, and I would like to share some of my favorite books that I've read in the past couple of years. I bet like some of this you've guys heard. It is very, like, some of the books are very viral on TikTok, for example, and I love these books, and maybe by talking about them you guys can get some recommendations. I think in total I have like 10-11 books that I will show you, so let's just get into it. And also, disclaimer, by no means that this is ranked from my favorite to my least favorite, or like my least favorite and my favorite list in a way. It is just random. I'm just gonna show you whatever I have on my pile over here. So, oh, sneak peek over here. First of all, the books I would like to talk about is Annabelle Monaghan's book. I think in total she has 3 books, if I'm not mistaken, and I only have 2, and I've only read 2, and I'm so excited for summer because she has another book which is same time next summer. I don't think I would read it right now because it's still so cold outside, but I will just read that whenever summer comes. And I think she's also releasing a new book, if I'm not wrong, this year. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But the 2 books that I have over here I really love. But the first book that I picked up that made me want to pick up her second book is Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Monaghan, as I already said. But this book was honestly so fast paced. So it's so short as well. I think it's like less than 300 pages. And she said all that she needs to say. She doesn't like drag anything out, which I really, really enjoy. I think this book is about Nora and her family. So her husband walked out on her, and she is a rom-com or slash Hallmark screenplay writer, or is it called screenplay writer? She's writing scripts for like Hallmark movies pretty much. So one day she was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna write about what my ex did to me, or like her ex-husband did to her. And she did it. It's not very Hallmarky, but then it got picked up by the big screen. And then this world famous like Hollywood actor, which is Leo, I think his name, yes, arrives on her doorstep, and then he began like filming, and then slowly but surely there's like some romance between them, and then they, you know, it's romance books, it's contemporary, so, but pretty much that's like the plot. It is so good, and I, please pick it up. Also, if you guys can hear the bells outside, excuse me. But anyway, yeah, Nora Goes Off Script, and I did not enjoy summer romance as much as Nora Goes Off Script, but it's still up there and I still love it. And I have like a few tabs here as well. It won't focus, but so I must have loved it. I don't think I remember much about this book. I think it's about, I don't really remember what it's about. I remember the meet cute, which is like in the dog park, if I'm not wrong. She has a dog and he has a dog, and then she found out later on that Ethan, I think his name, that Ethan is like a childhood friend slash childhood acquaintance of her, and then they just get to know each other. Like, Annabelle Monaghan's books are just the epitome of romance, rom-com, summer romance kind of books. So if you guys looking for that, and if you guys want a palate cleanser book real quick, even though it's not summer, if you guys don't read books the way I read books, which is like matching it to the season, then definitely pick this one up. It's so short. I binge read most of them in one day, which is, that's how you know it's like good books. So let's move on to the next book slash series, which is none other than the Chestnut Spring series. I love the Chestnut Spring series. It's about like the Eaton brothers. They live in Chestnut Springs. They all have different occupation. I think one of them is a cowboy, and one of them is like a rancher, one of them is like ex-military. There are 3 brothers, and 2 of them are like very close friends to the like main characters in previous books, either from the female side or from the Eaton brothers. So I truly adore this series, and if you guys really are into like small town vibes and not necessarily only cowboy, but they have like sort of American vibes that way, please pick this one up. I think a lot of you probably already read this series, but again, I just want to say it again. I am obsessed. And I think my favorite one from the whole series might be Hopeless, which is the last book between Bailey and Bo. Second place would be Powerless. The longing that they have here, because they're like two childhood best friends kind of thing. Jasper and Sloane is so good. Just trust me on Chestnut Springs. But it's like, I think most of you already read it. This series, so well known, and a lot of people have read it because it went viral a couple like years ago, if I'm not wrong, or like last year. So please pick this one up. Whenever I stumbled upon this series, the 5th book hasn't come out yet, so I read 4 books in 3 days. That was quite an achievement. I don't know if I had work that day or not, but honestly, reading 4 books in 3 days kind of excessive. That just shows you how much I am obsessed with this series. So pick it up. You guys won't regret it. Moving on to romantasy. I know a lot of people probably know. If you guys breathe or live or in a community of book somewhere, book talk, booktube, whatever it is that you are, you probably have heard about this series. And I think a lot of people who's even not in the book community probably know about this series, but it's none other than the ACOTAR series. Do I even have to say more? I read Throne of Glass as well, and I think my favorite is still the ACOTAR series. I don't know. I haven't reread it, and I read this pretty like early in my reading hobby genre whenever it started, so I don't know if I'm still as obsessed. I will just have to reread it. But as if for now, I am obsessed, and this lives in my head rent-free. Honestly, I think about it almost every day. So yeah, and it's been like 2-3 years since I read it, so it's saying something, and I think it's a sign. I know whenever, let me put it aside. I know whenever I first started reading it, I was quite nervous that I won't like it as much because it's overhyped in a way, but personally, I think it was not overhyped. And moving along with the lines of very famous viral books, I have the Fourth Wing series. Yes. Yes, I love it. The marketing that they did for Fourth Wing is insane because I feel like everyone knows of Fourth Wing. And I also had the same mindset with ACOTAR. I was like, oh no, it's gonna be overhyped. I don't know if I'm gonna like it. But I love it. I haven't read Iron Flame or Onyx Storm, which just came out like a week ago, I think. My pre-order still hasn't arrived. But I haven't read Iron Flame, and I read this 2 years ago, so honestly, I still remember some of the scenes, and I really enjoy their banter, their actions toward each other. So if you guys are into romantasy, especially into dragons and like school settings or academia a little bit, you guys will probably enjoy this. I don't even think that I need to explain to you what Fourth Wing is, but it's pretty much about a girl called Violet Sorengale. She is meant to be a scriber. I think scriber is pretty much like you be amongst books, you write things, pretty much you're amongst books and history and that kind of stuff. And one day her mom just like, you're going to the writer's quadrant. Anyway, you will become a writer. So she has to, with no training, most people train their whole entire life for this test. And she, on the day off, she has to become a writer, or she needs to pass the test. And yeah, that's pretty much how the book starts, and how it ends you have to just find it out on your own. But it's very interesting. It's very, I even love the like fantasy world, the magic system. Sometimes with romantasy, the magic system could be lacking, but honestly with Fourth Wing it is quite legit. And yeah, so that's Fourth Wing. Moving on to another series that I really enjoy. I found this series I think last year, and it has 4 books. It's the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. Honestly, do not be deterred from the first book, which is Mile High. I did not enjoy Mile High. I was considering not continuing the series, but I know the second book, people was like, it's actually epic and it's really, really good. So I read the second book. I was like, honestly, it was really good. It's between Ryan and Indy, and it is, by the way, this is a sports romance series. I think the first one was, if I'm not wrong, baseball. I think second book, which is The Right Move, is basketball sports romance. The third one and the fourth one is baseball too, I think. Yeah, they're baseball too. I'm still not sure if Mile High is baseball or not, but pretty much they're all sports romance and they all have their own individual sports, I guess, except the last two because they're like brothers. The main characters are brothers. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed especially both of these. They are so good. I think Caught Up is single dad trope, and this one is, I don't know what the trope is, but pretty much the guy has been pining for her for years, and then now she's finally not married anymore or not engaged anymore. He strikes, kind of thing. That's the trope. But yeah, Play Along was so good. I tabbed so many things, so many pages, because like the scenes that they have in here is just so good. This is also like my favorite book of the month last year somewhere. I think towards the end of the year, honestly, like August or September. So yeah, if you guys don't want to go through Mile High, pick up The Right Move, and then if you are obsessed with The Right Move, go with Caught Up and Play Along. But if you guys need to pick one book and one book only from this series, I would probably pick Play Along for you. I really love this. It's such a good book. But yeah, let's move along to the next book, which is none other than Love in Other Words. This book, I think, is very old. It's 2018, so it's not that old, but it is 7 years ago. So it is, I think, decently old. But this book is about Elliot and Macy. They have been friends for, they're pretty much childhood best friends, I guess. And then something happened. So they just like not best friends anymore, and then later on in life they meet each other again, and then they try to reconcile what they had before. So this book has dual timeline. It's then and now, which is then is whenever they're still best friend, and now is whenever their relationship is estranged a little bit. So this book, guys, I love it so much. I read it in 2023. I read it in 2024. I probably will read it this year again. And I have, let me show you my annotation tab. Literally nothing but year 2023, year 2024. And honestly, I don't even tab the same thing anymore. Sometimes I tab the same thing, but I think it'll be quite interesting to see how I feel about this 2025 since my reading taste is so different now. I know I'm not necessarily always into friends to lovers kind of trope, but I really enjoy this. And I think a lot of people have read this as well because it is quite an older book. Oh, let me tell you, by the way, it's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I don't think I said their name. This is honestly I think it has to be top 3 favorite books, in the top 3 favorite books of all time, which is technically that's yours truly, but this series in general is so epic. This is the Part of Your World series by Abby Jimenez. And yeah, the first book is Part of Your World, second one is Yours Truly, and third one is Just for the Summer. I think the hype around this book is also pretty big, so I don't need to explain to you exactly what each book is about. But my favorite one, I will explain to you what it's about. It's about Jacob and Brianna. I think in my tier ranking for 2024, like the books that I read in 2024, I said her name Bianca, but it's Brianna. So ignore that. But it's Jacob and Brianna. And Jacob has like major anxiety, and Brianna is like quite not the opposite, but pretty much opposite personalities. A lot of thing is happening to her, like around her, like not good things, bad things. Like she just got divorced and the brother needed a kidney donor, and then she was supposed to get promoted, but instead she didn't get the promotion and someone else filled the position, I guess, and that is where Jacob comes. And Brianna's first impression of Jacob was honestly not really good, because Jacob is the type of person who's very anxious, like social anxiety and everything, so he doesn't really say what he wants to say always, because he's always so nervous and anxious about it. So at one point they started sending letters and they started to get to know each other, and they actually like each other. So that's pretty much where the story starts, really. And honestly, this book, like I said in so many books already that I mentioned yours truly, it's just specifically because I think I fully relate to Jacob, and I just know how debilitating having social anxiety is. So seeing it depicted in a book where we can really see Jacob's point of view and how Brianna takes it is just so, like, it hits differently in a way. So yeah, yours truly is honestly probably one of my favorite books of all time. So please pick this one up. Do I even need to show you the tabs? But the other two is, so these are standalones but interconnected. So the first book is about Alexis and Daniel, which is also from the same hospital that Brianna and Jacob work at. And Brianna is also Alexis' best friend. And I think this one is connected because there are two female main characters. I mean, like, the male main character is Justin and the female is Emma. But Emma is a travel nurse with her best friend, which is Maddie, if I'm not wrong. She has also like a mini book, which is the situationship, Justin and Emma. And with this book, I think what I don't like about it is that a little bit of a trauma dump in a way. It's not bad at all. I love this book and I rated it 5 stars, but it's just I think a little too much trauma for one person kind of thing. I really love Justin and Emma as a character. Emma is like more calm, collected, and more reserved in a way. Justin is more all out. And yeah, honestly, pick all the books in the series. I know a lot of people who really love Part of Your World. I know personally I love Yours Truly, and I know so many people who love Just for the Summer as well. So just pick all 3 of them. Maybe all 3 of them will become your favorite books ever. So yeah, that's that series. Moving on to this, I read, I think, last summer on the plane, and I was just laughing out loud. That's how you know you actually like enjoy the book. It is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. And yeah, I didn't really expect to love this book this much, but I truly adore it. The humor in it is so funny. I know a lot of people say that it's cringe sometimes, some moments, but honestly, I don't think it was cringe at all. I think it was wholesome. There are also a lot of like mentions about disability, because I think her like Wynn's right or left hand, I'm not sure, is smaller than her other one. And Bo, he lost his leg, I think, or his calf, like knee down, because of some accident. So yeah, a lot of talk about disability, and I really enjoy how it like pictures it. And honestly, for me, enlightening, because I didn't know much about this area really, and to read about it, it's quite like eye-opening, and it's really interesting. And just seeing like how they're feeling, how people around them act towards them, you will probably have such a fun time just laughing because the characters are so funny and witty. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. I have none other than Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I haven't read Ruthless Vows because I've heard a lot of people say that it's not as good as Divine Rivals, so I'm quite nervous in picking it up. But from what I know from Divine Rivals, they are amazing. The love story that they have over here, and also people keep saying that this book is fantasy beginner friendly because it's pretty much the fantasy element on this book is very subtle, and it's nothing really different from our world, except it's like a war between 2 gods. Honestly, the pining and the tension, at first it started from like work rivals to lovers kind of thing, but I think whenever they became lovers, they're not really work rivals anymore in a way. But pick this one up. I think a lot of people have talked about Divine Rivals as well, so it's nothing new, and yeah, I think you will honestly enjoy it. So I have 2 more books, but the other one, I have it only on Kindle. I don't know where I can buy it here. I cannot find it in Germany really that easily, so it is none other than Catherine Cowell's books. So the series that I read from her is the Tattered and Torn series. It's about Easton brothers. I just love the tension between the characters. They're so short and sweet. It's such a perfect palette cleanser, and I will put it on the screen so you guys can see all the covers. But yeah, they all have like this mystery plot to them, so it's not just romance. And it's honestly, the mystery was kind of interesting because I always try to guess and I never guess it really. So if you guys love the combination of like mystery and romance, definitely pick Catherine Cowell's books. I also picked up Whispers of You the other day. I don't know what the series is called, but I will probably read the next book also quite soon. I think Echoes of You, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, definitely pick this one up. I adore the books. Catherine Cowles also pumps out books like no other. I think she finished the whole series, like whole 5 books in like 1 year, and then the next year she finished another 5. So you have a lot of content that you can consume from Catherine Cowles. So definitely check out her books. Now we're coming on to the last book, which is none other than Powerless. This book, I don't know what Lauren Roberts put in this book, but I am thoroughly obsessed. And the ending of this book is insane. But pretty much this book is about Peyton, which is an ordinary that has no ability. Yeah, meanwhile, in this world, everybody has some sort of ability, and she has none. And usually, if you have none, you will be banished from this like country, world, whatever it is. But instead of getting banished, she got placed into this tournament with the elites, which is people that have a better ability, I guess, because some of them are really not useless, but really useless, and some of them are really, really useful. So the fact that she has none and she is in this tournament surrounded by people who are very good at what they do and they have this amazing ability with them, it is quite intense. So this is definitely Hunger Games esque. And I think when I say Hunger Games, it's not just like the tournament vibes, but it is actually quite like Hunger Games, like 1-to-1 kind of thing. So yeah, but I don't think I need to say anything much about Powerless because this is also another book that is so famous beyond belief and so viral beyond belief. So if you need a sign to read this book, this is a sign. Take this as a sign and read Powerless. Honestly, the like Powerful, which is the novella after this, and then Reckless was very disappointing. They were not my favorite at all, and I did not really enjoy them really necessarily. But I'm excited for the third book that is coming out this year. I think either in April, if I'm not wrong, or May, but it's called Fearless. So I am excited for that book specifically. And I just hope that the third book will have a really good ending, because if not, honestly, quite sad, because the first book, I will probably think of this book forever. But Reckless, Powerless, meh. I will probably remember Reckless as one of my most disappointing read of 2024, because it was like my anticipated read of 2024. Like that's the one book that I'm really excited about. And when I read it, it took me so long to get through it because I really did not enjoy. And the chemistry between the characters, you just don't feel it anymore. It's like forced a little bit. So that was quite sad. But yeah, so that is it from me talking all about these romance books that I really love and I've been reading for, I want to say 3 years-ish. So this is a good collection. I feel like this is some of my favorite romance books ever. So if you guys love romance as much as I love romance books, either it's contemporary or romantasy, then I hope this video can be helpful a little bit in finding your next romance read. And yeah, I am excited to read more romance books this year, and I have so many romance books on my list already that I want to read this year. Comment down below if you guys have any favorite books, favorite romance books especially, and if you guys have, I don't know, your top 5 romance books ever. And I just want to see if I can take some inspiration, some recommendations, where maybe I can read more romance books and maybe I can read some of your recommendations as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.